going on, everybody? Finally getting around to doing my Shark AI robot vacuum return video. Some people have been requesting this, and this is basically a video on why I am returning this Shark AI. I'm going to kind of tell you the main reasons, what's good about it, what's bad about it, and my overall opinion on it. So first off, this guy's $479. So after tax, you're looking at over 500 bucks. Which to me is pretty expensive for just a standalone robot. Most robot vacuums nowadays have a self-empty bin, which is a must to me on any robot vacuum from now on. Once you have one, you cannot go back to emptying that little bin every other day or however often you vacuum. So now I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons of what I've seen on this guy with the testing I've done. If this is the first video you've seen on this from me, I would highly recommend you go back to my previous videos, and I'll even link a couple down in the description about the claims that I'm going to give this guy, the good and the bad. So once again, 500 bucks to me I think is overpriced for what it is. If it had a self-empty bin for the $500 to $600 mark like the IQ, I would say it's probably, that would help out a lot. This thing is definitely better than the Shark IQ. I did a return video like this on that. It got pretty popular. It had a lot of thumbs ups, a lot of thumbs down, a lot of comments. People loved it. People hated it. I hated it personally. This thing, I wouldn't say I hated, but it still has a lot of room for improvement. So anyways, let's go over some of the pros. And we'll kind of go off this box and I'll tell you if I agree with what the box says. More suction than the iRobot Roomba i7. That is 100% a fact. This thing actually has great suction. It actually cleans very well. The i7 cleans very well, but it has very poor suction. There's almost next to no suction with the i7 Plus. So that is definitely a good claim. All right, moving on to the rollers that do not leave pet hair. That's another positive. I did a bunch of hair tests with that, and there is no hair whatsoever on it. So that's a claim that is 100% accurate. Navigation is definitely better than the IQ, but still not very good when you compare it to even the camera-based navigation on the i7 or the S9 Plus by iRobot. So this one does have a laser up front that can detect shoes and whatever else, cables, dog poop, and that does work fine. So far it sounds like, well, why are you returning it? It's a good robot vacuum. Well, not so much. This one is the one that has the mop on the back, and they claim it's sonic mopping, and it says scrubs 100 times per minute. But in my review, this thing, when you think in scrubbing 100 times a minute, you think this thing's going like this over the floor really fast and scrubbing. But when I had this guy going, it was moving like literally like this. It was really doing nothing. This mop is very poor, but in its defense, I have yet to test a robot vacuum that has a good mop. So do not buy this robot vacuum if you want, especially the mop attachment. If for some reason you like this vacuum, they sell it without the mop, and it's about $60 cheaper. All right, cliff sensors, of course, those things work fine. They work fine on all robots. Carpet detection. So this does have a mode where it automatically increases suction on carpet. And once again, like I said, this thing does clean very well when it's doing what you want it to do. The spinning side brushes, I don't really like them on this robot because instead of having 3 to 5 bristles, it only has 1. So in theory, you'd think it's spinning slower, so it's not going to scatter the stuff as much. And that's true whenever you're on an open floor, but when you get to the edge of your room, and you have a bunch of stuff on the edge, that single brush just cannot flick it over for you. So you're gonna always have edge problems with this robot. If it had the triple or the 5-way design, I think it would have been better. Now let's move on to one of its biggest downfalls, same with the IQ, I would say, is its app and map. The IQ was, to me, remember I had that when this thing first came, when the IQ first came out, and it was trash. It never even made a map after a good 30 runs. All right, now one of the biggest negatives for this for me was how loud it is. So this has a design built in. So this has a design right here, this bar. This is made to get the hair off the rollers. And the rollers essentially kind of scrape this every time it spins, which makes this thing very, very loud. Even on carpet, it's just obnoxious. It's just way too loud having this going. And I tried removing this, and it made it a tiny bit quieter, and it still did a very good job with the pet hair and human hair. So I don't even know why they really put this in there, because it still does a very good job with the hair, even without this bar. Now the other negative is this tiny inlet. Hopefully you can see that. Very small gap there. So if you have anything the size of a jelly bean or bigger, they will literally get caught in here and get stuck until the job is done. Then you have to physically push them through. And that's just not a good design. Now, one major improvement, in my opinion, over the Shark IQ is they resized this bin to be much, much bigger. So now this can hold a lot more debris. All right, so once again, this thing does clean very good when it's doing what it needs to be doing. They need a lot of work with the map and the app. It just, to me, is not on par with a $500 robot. The mopping is a joke. The mopping did no better than any robot vacuum I've tried. And I wouldn't, honestly, not just this guy, I wouldn't recommend any robot vacuum that has a mopping attachment like that. They just do not do a good job. So that's basically it. That's my opinion. I've tested a lot of robot vacuums. I keep a lot of the ones that are good. I do return a few of the ones that I don't like. This is a massive step in the right direction compared to the Shark IQ. I really hated that thing. This thing I would say more I just dislike than hate. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me. I know a couple of you have bought this and you've even said that it's super loud and annoying. I think one of you even returned it for an iRobot and you're a lot happier with it. All right, if you enjoy this information, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. I got robot vacuum videos almost every other day, and I got a lot more coming, along with some giveaways and just a ton more content. Please let me know down in the comments what you want to see out of any of the other robot vacuums I have. And other than that, have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Peace.